Ragazzi, siamo appena arrivati a Parigi, sono Pasco e qui con me c'è
Una persona affascinata.
una persona affascinata perché è la sua prima volta a Parigi e non sei nemmeno stato mai a Bari. Quindi tu non sai che Bari è, cioè Parigi è Bari se avesse
È
il mare.
Parigi.
Se Parigi avesse il mare sarebbe Bari.
Vabbè, l'hanno capita loro, non vi
Ma è un
preoccupate.
detto vero.
Siamo venuti alla Illumination, non la sede di Bari, ma la sede di Parigi stavolta,
Esatto.
che è la casa di produzione che ha fatto diversi grandi prodotti, tra cui, mi dispiace ragazzi, i Minions. Ma i Minions sono un'opera d'arte, sono importanti, c'è molto da dire a riguardo. Noi siamo dentro a Illumination in questo momento, perché dobbiamo parlare con l'uomo che ha creato i Minions. Poi non so se è un lavoro di gruppo o no, ma lui è quello indicato come la persona che li ha creati, perché è anche quello che li doppia tutti. Pierre Coffin è anche il creatore di quei due personaggi che in Italia conosciamo solamente per i Kinder e Pippo, dell'ippopotamo e il cane che cantavano Il leone si è addormentato, con quella cosa lì. E nessuno lo sa, ma quello in realtà era un cartone animato francese con tantissimi episodi e c'è qualcosa in comune con i Minions, se ci pensi bene. Ma non ha fatto solo quello, ha fatto un sacco di altre opere, ma nessuna che sia famosa quanto i Minion. Hi,
Hello.
I'm Enrico.
I'm Pierre.
Who are you? Because in Italy nobody knows who made the Minions.
I know. Shh. You should not tell anyone.
We know you for an old commercial in Italy that went viral with a certain hippopotamus and
yes.
a dog.
Yes, I remember that one.
How do you feel about your old works before Minions?
I remember as the good times now, because I used to work. I mean, when I did commercials, I did multiple commercials at the same time, and I did many across the year. I do like 20 or 25 like per year, and so the turnaround was really pleasant because I got to do something that was really different like every time. And every time I got to meet different people too. So when Chris Meledandri, the producer of the movie, came here to France to ask me if I wanted to work on the first Despicable Me, I was very happy where I was. I didn't need him. There was no need for me, I didn't want necessarily to do a feature film. And I think that surprised him because I really said like, I'm super happy. I was doing my TV series with Pat and Stan, the hippopotamus and the dog. And I was doing those commercials also. So I didn't need the money, I didn't need the projects, I didn't need anything. But he was so insistent and so adamant about me working with him, working here in this place, in this building, that in the end I said like, well, okay, but I don't want to do it alone. And that's when he had this idea of like, so there's Chris Renaud, this other director, and maybe we can team you up, and then you'll just take care of animation and rendering, and then he'll take care of the storyboard and the script, and you'll split up the work that way. And that was okay for me because then all of a sudden I wasn't responsible. It was not my fault, and it was more pleasant to work this way. And that's how we did the first two movies, and I forgot what the question was.
Well, actually, it was not a very specific question. It was more about your experience. And now I have a real question.
Okay.
So, Chris Meledandri was a good producer, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, very good producer. Yes.
I know his story. He tried to tell his life story, his life experience with Sing.
Yes.
And maybe in this movie, there's something about your experience as a director.
I think you're not the first one to tell me this, but I think when you're in the sort of this creative world, I think it's this kind of the same story. It's like you draw for yourself, and then ultimately people notice you, and then you get more passionate about what you do. That I started drawing since I didn't have any TV at home because my dad didn't want me to have TV, so I used to read a lot, draw a lot. I'll have all these hobbies that no regular kids would have, just because I was not allowed to see TV, so I would compensate by doing something else, and so I drew a lot, and what I want to say is that at some point I guess you get spotted, you get invested in what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you start like, oh, I should do this, oh, I should do that, and then maybe you don't achieve this or that. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have met Chris Maledandri. I don't think I would have made the first feature film, and I don't think I would have made this movie. And so it's the people you meet and how talented you are, but also how dedicated to your work you are, because I have a feeling that it's people find all the stuff that's creative. Maybe, I mean, my dad always said that it doesn't seem like a job, because drawing feels more like a pleasure for me than for, you can't really win money from it, you can't earn your life, but what's weird is that it's actually work, but it's a passionate work. And so, yes, it feels like it's my story, but it's also the story of every director there is, or every writer, or every a painter, every artist, like to work and then get recognized or not, and then not being able to achieve something, but then those people still achieve something in the end. So I'm not sure it's just me, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Well, are the Bright brothers inspired by someone you met in real life?
No, certainly not Chris Maledandri, okay?
Not Chris Maledandri,
no.
of course.
I think it's one of those references where, like, the movie's set in Hollywood in the 1920s, and a few people know that the big studios were actually, built by immigrants. Like, the directors also were people that had migrated or that were migrating from fleeing Germany, like Fritz Lang or Ernst Lubitsch. All these people went to Hollywood to be able to do their jobs in studios that were built by migrants also. Like the Bright brothers got our inspiration from Warner Brothers, but Warner was not their real name. Their real name was I can't forget, but I think they were from Poland or something. But so they were stranger to the land, and so we just wanted to pay tribute to all the Americans, all the Europeans that went to America to build this industry.
Well, actually, the Minions are immigrants too.
Totally, yeah. Forever immigrants, because in the first movie they were they went to London, the second one to the States, and this one to the States also, but in another time period. But the time period is also very pleasing, because it felt like it's always nice, like to have the feeling that you're working and doing a period movie, because then you have references, you want to have fun with the past, I guess.
I can feel a lot of love for that period of the cinema.
Yes.
In this movie. Which movie of the many references there are, which is your favorite?
Oh, my ultimate favorite is Singing in the Rain. It's just like, it's more than a movie. It tells a story of Hollywood and the advent of sound, but this sound is very central in that movie. Is how in movies and stories in general, everything is made by 3 acts. The first act is like the setup. The second act is everything goes well until something goes very wrong, and then the third act is all about resolution. Singing in the Rain has put that sound idea at the end of the second act, meaning that it's the end of the second act. The sound is invented, so they're out of work, and how are they going to survive and stuff, and so it becomes we tried doing it slightly differently, but our ultimate reference is just in terms of look also, because when you look at black and white films like Chaplin's movies, you can't really tell how. If it was shot in color, how would it look? I would not know. And so we took also as reference Singing in the Rain as reference in terms of color and lighting, just because it was a movie that was shot, I think, in the 50s, end of the 50s, but it's about the time period of the 20s. So it was a good reference for us to use, even in terms of visual.
I got it. I think it was more, I don't know, it was near in time to the time where they tried to film in black and white.
Yes.
So they had a more precise idea of what were the real colors of the sets.
Yes, yeah, I guess, yeah. But there is there was another movie that we keep on referencing is obviously Citizen Kane and the Maltese Falcon, I guess. But I mean, there are so many references, and it feels like Casablanca also, when that woman arrives and she has that nice sliding on her. I mean, everything is. I mean, what's cool also is to have fun with. At least for us old people, it felt like, we could put that on, we could put that, and and it's a tribute for us old people to that time period that we really like. It's like I really wanted those two big producers, the Bright brothers, to, like, one is nice and the other one feels like he's mean, but he's not really mean. He's just like very serious about his job. And so when we see them, and he sees the minions and he says, I want to have these guys in every movie that we're making. Max, the director, goes off. And we leave the two producers, and they ask Sam, the piano player, to play the music from Casablanca. Yeah, exactly. And so all of a sudden they become like human and nice, and they're nice guys actually. They like, nice music and. Yeah.
Well, I felt like the evil one was the sincere one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the good one was just being nice. But
yes.
This is a very important question to me.
Oh.
But my mother has never seen a single Minion movie or anything about Minions, but loves Minions on Facebook. Why?
Why is your mother on Facebook? That's my question.
But why are Minions on Facebook so successful between adults?
I don't know. You have to ask. You have to ask your mother. You have to talk to your mother. Okay.
Okay, we will call her.
No, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. It's just like I can't. I don't know. I like the Minions for my own personal reasons, but I don't know how. I would never do memes that way. I would never have the imagination to do that. I'm not sure, because I see a lot of love, but I see a lot of hate also towards those characters. So I'm not. I'm alive, so I see that people don't like them also. So. So yeah, you'd have to ask them. I for one love them because I can do just about anything with them. I can tell like any sort of stories. It's a challenge every time I do something with them. So it feels like I'm alive when I have to work with them. And at some point I was not at all that way. I was like, oh Jesus, I got to make another one of those movies. But I realized that no, this is an endless well of, and making this movie was just like, okay, well, we're gonna make it different. And the time period, the music, the look that it has, the animation. I sort of imposed this way of working that was kind of strange, I guess, for the animators also. And so it was like a real change. I wanted everyone to know that this was not another Minion movie. It was a different movie.
Well, what is the limit of what Minions can do or can't do?
I think there is no limit. Really, truly. I mean, besides that they don't know how to speak, but I think they're magical in the sense that people understand them even though they speak gibberish. That's incredible, no? It's.
Did you use the Gramlo?
The what?
The Gramlo.
What is that?
Okay, in the Commedia dell'arte.
Gromlo, yes, of course. No.
Sorry,
no.
My pronunciation is bad.
I've never heard it with an Italian accent. No. Yes, it's a little bit like that, and so some people say it's Esperanto also. So it's kind of a. I think what's important is not the words, because I say a lot of Italian words, Spanish words, French words, but it's mostly the melody, and so. And I know it's the melody, it's the setting, it's what comes before and after, all of that. And it's also the attention that you're asking the audience. And so I want to hope that the reason why those guys are kind of successful is that people just shut up and try to listen to what is happening. I'm not sure I understand. And then we give them clues as to what to understand, and they understand it, weirdly enough. Like, we have this bit in the movie, which I hope people understand, is when they get fired from the studio, they go into that ravioli factory, and you have two group of minions. One wants to make a movie, and the other one wants to leave and find their new boss because they've been fired, so they got to go back on mission. And we have this conflict between one minion and another one, Dick and Henry, and they have this argument about, no, we got to go serve a new boss. No, we got to help James make a movie. But all that lasts like 5 minutes, and it's just asking people to understand, like, oh, okay, they want to go see, Dick wants to pursue the boss, and Henry wants James to be able to make his movie. And so, but all that in Romolo and Mignonese. And so we're asking people, but we have to understand that, because otherwise you're going to be lost for half of the movie. And that's why also we find tricks of, like, just in case people didn't understand, we cut the scene there, and oh no, it's not there actually, because we find that you have this scene happening in the jazz club. Where the minions, where the Max is giving them his camera, and then we cut back to the museum just to sum up, like, oh, okay, so these minions are going to make a movie, and then we cut to the minions, Dick and the minions, like, finding Dort because they want to find, like, a new boss. So we have tricks about, like, translating what the minions are saying and giving clues to the audience as to what they should be understanding.
Well, the minions learned that during the movie that for a good monster movie you need a big monster.
Yes.
So what is the metaphorical monster of this movie?
Metaphorical. Oh man.
The big monster that made the movie.
Oh man, I don't know. It was not. I don't think it's metaphoric. I think it is a real monster. I mean, it's really, and it's an innocent. Like, he just wants to make his movie, so he sees that in the book and says, like, oh yeah, well, we had the answer all along, so we gotta have that thing which seems scary, but it's not gonna be scary, right? He's gonna think he's summoning Cthulhu, but it's gonna be this little spongy thing that is gonna. But ultimately,
it was actually Cthulhu.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yes, it is. But a cute Cthulhu. They were expecting this huge monster, but it's that little cute thing, which is not really impressive.
So next question is, what was the hardest part of this movie?
Technically, or just in terms of story?
Both.
Oh, Jesus. Well, technically it was Irene, just because we'd never done that before, and we really knew that she was going to be a problem and that we didn't know how to make her. So Irene is a big blob with eyes, so we didn't know how to do that so that she would look good in animation and look scary and blah blah. In terms of story, I think it was pretty much straightforward. The only thing that we didn't know, that we never know with the minions, is that how story can they carry with their grumlo, with their gibberish, because I've had experiences where for the first movie. We did an hour and a half of just the minions speaking minions, and it was horrible. It was just 1 hour and a half of, like, pizza, tortilla. But it was that for an hour and a half, and it was, like, really overwhelming. That's why we started introducing human characters. And I think the hardest thing was to find the correct balance between how the humans would intervene and help us understand what the minions were going through. That's why at the beginning there's this voiceover that is there, and that sort of disappears during the whole movie, except for one little bit. And then reappears at the very end, because we really, I think, needed those three things just to be able to. But after that, it's just a question of trial and error. We're giving the gift of time in animation, meaning that after 2 years, we're seeing the movie in front of us, and we have a year to say like, yeah, this is not working. We have to redo this. Well, let's try something different for that. Blah, 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 blah. So that's why.
Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
And say hi to your mother.
Finito, siamo appena usciti da Illumination ed è stato traumatico, direi. Ero agitatissimo, un po' perché di solito quando parlo con gente che ha lavorato a grandi cose eccetera ho tipo un'ora di tempo, ci ho già fatto amicizia o altro del genere, mentre qui mi hanno fatto sedere e già stavo parlando. Ero troppo emozionato probabilmente, ma è stato un sacco interessante, lui è dolcissimo.
Vabbè dai, ci sta alla fine. Poi il fatto che in inglese c'è un livello di difficoltà in più, ovviamente, l'emozione.
Giuro
più...
che me la cavo meglio con l'inglese quando non sto di merda.
Però ti dico, da ascoltatore esterno, è un'intervista interessante, anche per chi non conosce Minions.
Noi siamo nel luogo in cui è stato... Oh mio Dio, che bel riverbero. Siamo nel luogo in cui è stata girata, qualche scena di Inception, non una sola, vero?
Ma ti ho detto, secondo me non hanno davvero girato qui, hanno ricostruito il
rovina
set.
tutta la magia a tutti quelli che visiteranno mai Parigi adesso. Vuoi dirmi che i puffi non sono stati davvero qua?
L'unica regola è che non devi mai ricostruire i paesaggi dai ricordi.
Stai cercando di parlare di tutto tranne che di Illumination perché non hai mai visto un suo film, vero?
No, invece ho visto quasi tutti i film della saga dei Minions. Io ho visto Cattivissimo Me, Cattivissimo Me 2, Minions 2.
Qual è il migliore tra quelli che hai visto?
Senza dubbio Cattivissimo Me 1, perché la dimensione con le figlie. Quindi questa dinamica è un po' di lui che deve fare i conti con l'amore. Quest'ultimo che abbiamo visto con l'elemento metacinematografico che comunque ha.
Stai usando una parola come metacinematografico per parlare dei Minions?
Beh, perché sì, perché loro fanno un film. Quindi se tu fai un film in un film, per definizione è metacinema.
Allora, io sono felicissimo, è stato meraviglioso. Tu quale domanda avresti fatto al posto mio?
Allora, io come ti avevo già detto avrei chiesto di più sul marxismo e mi sembrava che lui fosse aperto anche a discuterne.
Non parlavo a te, parlavo a gente che non è pazza.
Ah, ok. Allora ragazzi, fateci sapere che cosa avreste chiesto voi al creatore dei Minions.
Non dite il marxismo.